Iran, Iraq, and oh boy, do we have news for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get into all the blatant Democrat anti-Americanism we've seen over the past couple days, let's just give you a quick update on where we are. We all know we turned Soleimani into SpaghettiOs a few days ago. Iran had a massive funeral for him. People were weeping. The Ayatollah himself was crying. It's the end of the world. But since then, Iran has done a lot of threatening. They raised some red flag in their country that supposedly symbols that they're getting ready to go to war and, and there's going to be a severe retaliation. But then they did something else. Then they appealed to the international community saying what we did was a war crime. Does that sound like somebody who's getting ready to hit us hard? And then they went on CNN, because where else would you go to get your talking points out if you're Iran? Then they went on CNN and said, I'm not kidding, they said, well, we have to do a response, but then the United States should just leave it alone from there. Does that sound like somebody who's negotiating from a position of strength? We wiped out a major person in Iran's government, a terrorist piece of trash. Iran is now forced, because of pride and because of politics and things like that, they're forced to have some kind of response. Here's the problem for them. Their military spending is 2% of our military spending. They're in no position of strength anywhere. They don't have a navy really to speak of, especially not compared to ours. All they have is potential terror attacks, and even that, they're saying, well, we're only going to focus on military targets. Iran is going for the meekest, mildest revenge tour in the history of mankind, and it's glorious to watch. Couple all that with the fact that Iran apparently has lots of support inside of Iraq, a place where most Americans don't want us to remain anyway. Iraq's parliament voted to kick the United States out. They want us out of the country. It looks like, if this letter I'm looking at is authentic, it looks like we're actually going to oblige them and say, see ya, there'll be some helicopters in the sky on the way out the door. So let me see if I understand this right, if I'm an American citizen, and I very proudly am. We got to wipe a terrorist scumbag off the map. Thus far, there's been no response. All indications are if there is a response, it'll be a light response, and we get to remove American troops out of Iraq, out of harm's way, and bring people home. Which part of this didn't work out well for us? This sounds like the greatest thing in the history of mankind. Who in the world would have a problem with that? Well, of course, Democrats would have a problem with that. But before we get to them, let's go to Trump's statement because, look, Donald Trump is still flexing his muscle. People don't like that. Well, I should say leftists don't like that when you slaughter a high-ranking person in the Iranian government and then you say, oh, by the way, I'm going to kill more of you too. They think you could just enter a war meekly and mildly and, well, I mean, we're going to hit you, but not too hard. It'll be really gentle. No, Trump took to Twitter and said, quote, these media posts will serve as notification to the United States Congress that should Iran strike any U.S. person or target, the United States will quickly and fully strike back, and perhaps in a disproportionate manner. Such legal notice is not required, but it is given nevertheless. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to discuss that for a moment. Disproportionate. Let's focus on that part of this. You know that movie scene you've seen 1,000 times? Oh, I would never shoot first. Oh, I would never hit first. You get mothers telling their children that these days, too, because society seems to think that that's the acceptable thing. Now, don't ever throw the first punch. Let me explain something to you, ladies and gentlemen. If you're ever about to be in a physical confrontation, and I hope you're not, avoid that at all costs. But if you feel like a physical confrontation is inevitable in any case, whether you're fist fighting in the backyard or whether you're making war, hit first and hit hard. That's how you win battles, ladies and gentlemen. Hit first and hit hard. And you do exactly what Donald Trump said we would do. You don't say, okay, well, if you hurt one of ours, then we'll hurt one of yours because we want to be proportionate. No, you do exactly what Donald Trump has said over the past couple days. If you hurt one of ours, we already have 52 people in your government identified, and we'll plant a cruise missile in their cereal bowl in the morning should you hurt any American citizen. Now, you may not like that. It may make you uncomfortable, but Trump's right. See what I did there? But he is. You have to signal strength to countries like Iran, to countries like Iraq. Nations across the world only understand strength. So many of them. And when you get to dictatorships like Iran, That's all they get. People, I was in Iraq. Let me explain something to you. Many people, maybe not everyone, but many people there only understand the business end of a gun. They do. And we don't like to think like that. We like to think everything is a college campus. If we should talk it out, should we pass notes? Let's message each other on Instagram. Well, that's not the real world. That's not how things work out.